What's up, everybody? We're here with the Deeper Podcast.
We're back, man.
How we doing? Post-Thanksgiving.
Post-Thanksgiving, we are feeling it, man. It's a Monday morning. It is beautiful weather. At the time of this recording, we've had 3 inches of rain in the past 2 days, and there's more coming.
I had a swim at my back door.
It's just gross out there. It's like in the 40s and raining. It's and because of that, Caleb dressed up like he is a fall farmer.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. I wish we need him on camera today. We've given him a hard time just because he dressed different. We need to clarify, and we've already clarified this to him personally, lest y'all think we're just piling on and picking on him.
Well, now they do, but go ahead.
He looks good. Like, he looks like he's going to either film a country music video.
You're also matching the couch.
A Wrangler commercial.
I call it GQ2.
GQ2, yeah. It's a different GQ look in the GQ photo spread.
It's a Ford F-150 advertisement.
Yeah, he's gonna have, you know, his tennis shoes, black shirt look. Which, by the way, I've got my brother Caleb uniform on again today. Multiple people yesterday said you even dressed like brother Caleb today. So that's GQ look 1, but now we've moved to GQ 2. Seriously, it's a great look.
Texas.
He looks like GQ Fred. So
I live in Fred, but I was raised in Lumberton. That
is kind of the vibe. That is the vibe.
The bottom half is Lumberton.
Yeah. No, it's yeah. So, but he's dressed like the weather indicates, and we're also the lazy version of that in our hoodies.
Yeah.
Just get out, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But all that to say, here we are, man. December 1st. Is today the 1st? Are there 31 days, or is that
December 1st?
December 1st. We're already here, man. Last month of the year.
That is crazy.
Rocking and rolling. Only a few episodes left of the Deeper Podcast for 2025. Yeah. Not forever. Just for 2025. Now that we went to the expense to get all the studio set up, and we only do it for 3 more months, and we're like, you know what? It's just time. Let's just end this thing now. No, man, thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for being here. We enjoyed a week off last week, but we're glad to be back with you today.
Yeah.
Continuing our conversation about worry and anxiety, which is what we finished up a sermon series that we started 2 weeks ago. And yesterday, Bryce, you wrapped up this series by looking at Matthew chapter 6. Shout out to our friend Tyler, who the first week of the series came up to me and was like, hey, Rusty, just a thought. Maybe you should, and I know he was really kind the way
I know you do this, but
this reminded me of Matthew 6. I wondered why you didn't mention that. And I was like, because, wait, Bryce is going to talk about it in 2 weeks.
And he actually showed up.
Yeah.
Shout out Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler came to hear it. Tyler also gave me the greatest compliment that I've ever received in my life. Yeah. Bryce saw me literally walking on the clouds after that comment. Like
glowing.
A glow like you've never seen on me.
Glowing.
So I had to lead worship. Yesterday was one of those weird days. We all switched places. Caleb just didn't come to church. He just called me up about 6 o'clock Sunday morning and said, I'm just not feeling it today.
Barb's about to call you about it.
He took a vacation and wasn't here yesterday, so I had to lead worship. Bryce was preaching. It was a great Sunday, different Sunday. We talked about that before we were rolling. That sometimes mixing it up is fun, but we're all kind of ready to be back in our normal places next week. And kind of felt like you guys were feeling that same thing a little bit, if we're being honest. But that's all right, too. So, switching places. Everybody's doing some different things. So Tyler, after worship, comes up to me and says, hey, on that last song, your voice kind of reminded me of, not sure if you're familiar with him, Vince Gill. Yeah, Caleb
he is absolutely jealousy right now.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, and Bryce was like, okay, we're not going to be able to work with this guy anymore.
Here we go.
Don't let our love stop. Yeah. I've been singing Vince songs ever since, man.
I got a really good compliment from Tyler too. He said that he just wished Rusty did it all yesterday. So
I got a great compliment. It would have been cool if you wouldn't have preached. Tyler did not. Tyler is the nicest, most awesome friend in the world.
He's going to hate this podcast.
Yes, he is. We've talked about Tyler too much. He's going to be like, guys, please stop. Yeah,
thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it, man.
It was a good day talking about Matthew 6, and you did a great job of unpacking that classic text.
I have one last one. I did so great that after the second service was over, Rusty made sure to let everybody know that I'm not preaching next week. So just so
Well,
y'all know that.
It was also after saying I wouldn't be doing music
just playing.
again. Yeah, I did say that though.
But you paused, and I was like, just say it. Just say it.
Like I don't know how I'm going to say it. Yeah. No.
By the way, he's not going to be here next week.
Yeah.
No, it was good.
Nobody felt that way. Everybody, I think, in the building was helped by that message because it's the word, and that's what you and I talked about last week as you were preparing it. That is a hard week to preach, and because we were off last week, so it's not your normal rhythm. You worked on it some a couple weeks ago and wrapped it up on an off week, so it's a hard day to preach. But as we talked last week, you were just like, I'm just going to do the text, and I was like, hey, what a novel concept. Because preachers, we can kind of behind the scenes here. If you're not careful, you can try to find your quote, your spin on a text.
Yeah.
How am I going to say this in a creative way that's unique and different? And I see this in younger preachers a lot. So I try to, when I'm coaching you guys, and I have to remind myself of this a lot. It's like, man, we don't need your creative spin on the text. Just do the text.
That's why it's there.
And our favorite, can I talk about this?
You can.
The behind the
Yeah,
scenes
you can.
bit. So Bryce is talking about his outline for his message last week.
I already had it almost done.
He had it almost done, and he's telling me about it. And he's like, I really feel like I'm going to do this part here, and that Jesus does at the end first, and then do this part second. And I kind of just let him go. And then, and you have to understand, in context, I said, I do this all the time. So I gave the caveat before. It wasn't just like, let me smack you. I said, let me just tell you what I do sometimes. I think, you know how Jesus preached the sermon? I think I can improve it if I rearrange it and put the pieces in a different order. And he was just like,
And then I walked out of the office.
yeah, you're right. He was like, yeah, I get that.
Which, granted, there is sometimes where to communicate a different point.
Yes. And we did have that conversation.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's appropriate. So, yeah, for example, if Sunday I end up doing the same thing, you are going to be like, oh, got him.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's appropriate. But I thought, man, where the Lord led you from that conversation, and even before that conversation, I've been helped by some of the stuff that didn't make the sermon that you texted me and talked to me about as you studied that passage. And y'all may not know that too, but when preachers are preparing to preach, there's so much that the text does and ministers to us that you may never even hear on a Sunday morning,
100%.
which is one reason this podcast exists, to be able to get some of those things out there from time to time. But yeah, I was very helped by the way you just walked through the text and let Jesus speak for himself and just brought those points out. So we talked about not worrying.
Yeah, stop worrying.
And, I'm reminded of what we said at the beginning of the series that is kind of an awkward thing, but nonetheless is worth saying, that worry is a sin. Like we've kind of just adopted that one. Like, I mean, we all do it. Am I right?
Yep.
But it literally, if the Bible says do not be anxious about anything,
Yeah.
if we're worrying, that's a sin. Like
Yeah.
if the Bible says do not do this and we do it, that is sin. So I feel like that's a shocking statement still, even 3 weeks later. I feel weird saying that out loud. But Jesus now
Don't worry about your
says,
life.
don't worry about your life. And I thought you brought this out in just an excellent and clear way. It's not talking about the little things. Like a lot of times we say that kind of vibe of, hey, don't sweat the small stuff. Am I right? Jesus goes for the jugular, man.
Yeah.
Like what's he say? Don't worry about your life.
Yeah.
The clothes on your back,
Food.
where you're going to stay, what you're going to
Drink.
eat.
Yeah.
Those are what we would all consider primary needs in our lives.
Yep.
So Jesus isn't saying, don't worry about all those little things, just take care of the big stuff. No. He says, don't worry about any of it.
Yeah. Yeah, none of it is an actual essential to the kingdom of the Lord, which is a crazy thing for us to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is, and I tried to reiterate that point because that's something that's been sticking out to me since you first said that. First command, verse 25, don't worry about your life.
Yeah.
If you worry about your life, you are going against the command of the Lord, you know? And so, yeah, again, it's awkward. Like that's a weird thing to think about.
I think your point was well made that worry robs us of the blessings of God.
Yeah.
That wasn't the way you worded it, but that's what you worry robs us of the blessings of God. So, and the enemy, and y'all know we've said that here in this podcast before. One of the enemy's great tactics is to take the blessings of God and turn them into a burden. And that's what we do. We take the blessings of God and worry about those things. And all of a sudden, what should be blessings to be enjoyed are burdens that we're worried about and consumed about.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons we worry is because of the false sense of control we have.
Yeah, 100%. It's the kingdom we built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we think, but it's a cardboard kingdom,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That is just going to be torched. And sometimes it doesn't happen on this side of eternity, but the reality is a lot of times it happens here. And something, I've said this before, we're all one phone call away from our lives being turned upside down dramatically.
Yeah.
And our illusion of control being gone.
Gone. Yeah.
Absolutely gone. And we have families in our church who've walked through that literally in the past few days.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, all of us, this control we think we have, this ability we think we have to run our world and rule our little kingdoms is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it does create worry that just consumes us. And it's pointless worry because we're not really in control anyway.
That's that was one of my points towards the end of the sermon and I kind of just had it. It was one of those, it was late at night a few days ago, and I just wrote it down kind of in the middle of the sermon. It didn't really fit, but the sentence that I wrote down and then said was, none of this belongs to me anyways. Why am I letting every single space of room in my life worried about this thing that doesn't belong to me?
Yeah.
My name's not attached to it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not mine. It's his anyways. And so, yeah, that was the first question I had was, if you had to write down what is the thing in your life that you were worried about the most?
Yeah.
And almost every one of our answers, I think, including us, would be a blessing. A blessing that God has given us is what we worry about the most.
Yeah.
And so, but you talked about that a few weeks ago. Yeah. And I remember you kind of talked about your kids and talked about Mallory and stuff. And it really is a true thing. And the whole time I'm reading that text, and even the biggest blessings in our life, food, drink, clothes on our back, shelter, those things still have worry attached to them because we make them into our own kingdom.
Yeah.
We make them into our own hands and control them. And he literally just says, stop. Quit. What are you doing? Stop doing it. Which is why it's important to let him preach his text, because that's the greatest. Every passage in the Sermon on the Mount is the greatest sermon outline you can ever come up with.
Yeah, no doubt.
It really is.
No doubt.
It really is. But
yeah, no. So that's this worry that tends to eat us up and dominate our lives is something that every single one of us deals with. But the solution biblically is the same, whether it's Jesus or Paul in Philippians 4 or Jesus in Matthew chapter 6. Essentially, it is a shifting of our perspective. It's a shifting. The way to eliminate worry, and we said it 3 weeks ago, is that every inclination to worry is an invitation to pray.
Yes.
And then essentially, this is what Jesus says. He doesn't say it in the guise of prayer. Guise is not the right word there, but what he says to us is stop worrying and instead seek the kingdom.
Yep.
Because when you seek the kingdom, you find what you're looking for, and you find that the greatest need in your life is met. Think about that for a minute.
Yep.
The greatest need you have in this life, and that's another piece of paper moment. If I said, hey, friends, pull over the car and grab a piece of paper and write down the biggest need in your life right now, man, the three of us would probably have different needs.
Yeah.
Right? We'd say different things. But the reality is when we stop and see this perspective that Jesus offers, the greatest need in your life has already been met by Jesus.
Yeah.
And when you recognize that the greatest need that I have in my life has been met by Jesus, and he says, I'll sort out the rest as well, then the only solution is to rest in that.
Yeah.
And to let him lead and to seek his kingdom above everything else. And verse 33 is just absolutely wild.
It is. Yeah, I didn't get into a lot of it yesterday because time, and it's hard. And when you're also going through a series, that you want to respect the series in a way.
The emphasis was on worry and anxiety.
Yes.
Certainly.
And so there wasn't a lot of...
We didn't delve into what seeking the kingdom looks like.
Exactly. Because I do believe that the past few weeks before that was a lot more of that, of kind of hands-on, I guess what you would describe it as. And so yesterday was just kind of an overview of what we've already been talking about.
Yeah.
But also, if somebody just came for the first time, they were able to understand
Certainly.
that seek. But and so the focus yesterday was, when I read through the text, and this is what when I originally came to you, this was going to be my emphasis. And you were like, no, but not in a bad way.
Yeah.
But the thing that, man, just jumped out of the page to me when I read this passage, and I've preached this passage before, was the idea of God's care throughout this passage. And I think, and Jesus is writing this in a way, and preaching, or not writing, but preaching this sermon in a way, and having emphasis on how much he cares.
Yeah.
He commands you to don't worry about your life, but then he doesn't just jump into, well, don't worry, but seek me, and that's it. But he, in the middle of don't worry and then seek me, in the middle of that is, and look how much I love you and care for you.
Yeah.
This is why you should seek me. This is the whole reason you should do this prayer life. This is why you should devote yourself to my word. This is why you should be in church worshiping me, because I love you even more than the birds that I'm caring for. And so I thought that was, and I just always kind of have read over like, oh, that's a cute little lily flowers and birds.
I don't think we believe it.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the hard thing. I don't think we really believe the Lord loves us as much as he does. We don't understand grace. Like we think God's love is based, and even though theologically we know, no, we're not saved by anything but by faith, by grace through faith. Like that's the only way no works of our own. Yet, if we're honest, we do kind of feel like God loves us more or less based on how good or not good we've been, on the merits of our lives or the demerits in our lives. We tend to feel God's love based on those things, and that's a tragedy.
It is.
And because we don't think he cares for us, we actually think that our seeking produces the care. And that's where the order of the text comes back in.
Yep.
Jesus doesn't say, seek first the kingdom of God, because if you do, then I'll care for you like I care for the birds. No, he says, I care for you more than the creation that you see that I provide for. I care for you so much more. So come to me.
Yeah.
Seek me, because you'll find your rest in me. You find your worry in the things of the world, but you'll find your rest if you seek me.
His care and love for us is the driving force for our obedience to him. And it should be. And I've been in seasons where that isn't true.
Yeah.
And it's not authentic. You know what I mean? My obedience, my checklist things that I'm doing are not authentically following after him, because I'm not truly letting his love drive that. I'm just doing it because I know I need to.
Yeah. Well, and it kind of makes you a Pharisee.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. It's where that spiritual pride comes in, which is antithetical to what it means to walk with Jesus.
Yeah. And I didn't talk about it a lot yesterday because, again, just time wise, but the idea of that question that Jesus asked the disciples in this conversation of, you of little faith, comparing them to the worldly, temporary Gentile mind, which we talked a lot about the temporary things, because I think that was very important to talk about, because the basic essentials to our life are temporary things, but that's what we seek most of the time. But he compares them to the Gentiles, and that's the Gentile mindset. It is a mindset of this world, of temporary things. This is success, right? And he says, you of little faith. And I shared that Spurgeon quote, and I don't know, have you heard that quote before I said
so.
it? Man, I just never came across it before, but that's something I'm going to be thinking about for a long time, that learn better manners, and basically Spurgeon is just talking about like a little faith is a huge implication to the Lord. Like he hates that. Like it bothers him to see us have a little bit of faith. And that might sound counterintuitive, right? It's like, well, you have faith. Why is he wants every single bit of it. He wants exactly the opposite of the Gentile mind that he is describing. But we're so focused on the clothes and the food and the drinks and the everything of this world. He wants literally everything that we are. And again, it's because he cares for us.
Yeah.
It's not because that's what we're going to get. We do get it as another blessing, but it's because of his care and love. That is what should completely saturate our minds for following after him. But yeah, man, I also did not, and I kind of want to talk about it a little bit. I didn't really get a chance to really focus in on that last line of tomorrow will worry about itself.
Yeah.
Like, man, that's a sermon. Like that last verse is you could do a full sermon message on that.
Well, there's so much practical truth to that. I wish I had numbers for this. Lyle, my friend who is the youth pastor in Wichita, he preached a sermon on Philippians 4 one time. and he had a bunch of data, and it was just so mind blowing because you just, as he's saying it, you feel it. And I can't remember but it was a massive percentage, like 88% or something dumb like that. So I don't know, but almost all the time, the greatest fears and anxieties in your life do not come to pass. Like they had like quantified research and talk, and it was a study that basically was talking about the things that keep you up at night are really not that big a deal. And he talked about, the thing that you're obsessed about right now in 6 weeks won't even be a thing. Like the biggest concern in your life, and we can talk about that. I mean, even in your life without talking about the thing, but like 3 or 4 months ago,
oh yeah,
you were a shell of yourself in everything you did. The Lord, in His grace, helped you get through that. In your music, not music. He helped you write songs and lead worship, but in your preaching and stuff, God carried you through that. But you were messed up with a big situation in your life that you were asking for the Lord to help and provide for. And even now that's still in progress, but guess what? A year from now, it won't even be on your radar.
Nope.
But the thing that for a few months of your life hijacked your mental energy, your spiritual energy, your emotional strength, and all those things is a nothing burger because God took care of it.
Yep.
Right?
Which He was going to do to begin with.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's one of those weird things where, and it's easier to identify it in your life than it is when I have one of those in my life. But you know what I'm saying? Like so we spend so much time being consumed with things that really we can't do anything about. We're not in control of those things.
Nope. And I love how Jesus, the Savior, affirms that there is trouble tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like he easily could have not had the line of, for it has enough trouble of its own. But like that is such in my mind, a human aspect to who Christ is.
Yeah.
For Him to see how much problems there actually is in this world.
Yeah.
For Him to see how much problems that we are going to face tomorrow.
We live in a broken world with real problems.
For it has enough trouble of its own. Like, it doesn't have to, but it does. Like, and we have to face that.
The saying that people will say, my mom says this all the time, is don't borrow trouble. And that's a summary of what Jesus said.
Yeah.
Like you got enough to deal with today instead of borrowing trouble from tomorrow. And really the idea goes back to what we talked about in the Psalm 131 message, where I talked about those 2 columns. Like there's all these things we can control, and then there's a huge list of things we can't control. Yet we spend so much of our time obsessed about the things we can't control that we let the things we can control go to crud in our lives. And I think Jesus is talking about that same thing. It's like, man, deal with the things that are before you today and let tomorrow take care of itself.
Yeah.
And when tomorrow is today, you can deal with those problems.
Yep. 100%.
But we spend so much time and energy thinking about the future that we can't control. And then the ironic thing is that our worries come to pass because we're not doing the things today that can actually help change the future.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm overweight and might get type 2 diabetes. I'm so stressed out about it. That might happen. I'm going to go and eat pizza today because I'm nervous about it. And then it's like, so all these things, worry, not worried about today leads to the tomorrow that we so desperately fear.
And a practical application of this for me as a youth pastor working with the next generation, when I first got here, I was kind of been out of shape on a few group of students who I really wanted to change. Just, honestly, like I wanted to change them with my own power and my own strength and my preaching, which is a recipe for absolute disaster. And it was. And because I put all of my energy and focus on this group of people that I wanted to change, that I wanted to see grow, I wanted to see them lose their mind for the Lord. I built and painted this beautiful picture of what I wanted this little group of students to be, right? For probably a year and a half. And in that year and a half, I completely neglected this huge group over here that was in desperate need of somebody to guide them and lead them. And every night I would worry about that little group of students. And I put all of my focus, all of my energy into that, when the entire time the Lord was calling me to minister to these, because He already had these planned. He knew what He was going to do with these students. Some of them were just going to go different routes, and I'm praying that they come back to the Lord. And some of them did continue to follow Christ, but I missed out on this huge group of students that the Lord was calling me to shepherd that entire time. and I was neglecting that because I was worrying about the future of this little group, and that was a huge lesson for me in my ministry too. When something is presented in front of me and I have the opportunity to do something that I might think in the back of my mind, is this going to have big implications or small implications? Say yes and do it. Like, regardless of what I think the outcome is going to be, say yes and do it, and do not worry about what's going to happen the next day.
Seek first the kingdom.
Yeah.
Do the kingdom work God's calling you to do today, and tomorrow will take care of itself. And man, we don't know what tomorrow looks like. We don't know. And again, we walked through tragedies in the last several days. We don't know what today's going to look like. We're all that one phone call away from life being turned upside down. But guess what? I've shared this before, but I remember when I was in Kansas and when I was in Dallas, people would say, how'd you end up here? It's not that shocking that I'm in Buna. I grew up in Spurger. But when I was far off, people were like, how in the world did you end up in Wichita? How'd you come to Dallas? And what I would always tell people is, well, you get up one day and you do what God calls you to do. And then you get up the next day and do what God calls you to do. And when you do that every day, next week, next month, next decade has a way of working itself out. And it will work out in ways you never expected. But when you are just faithful in what God's given you today, He has a way of leading you. But we want the map. We want to know what the whole future is going to look like. And the fact is, we don't have that. And it's a little bit alarming. It's a little bit concerning for us. And if we're not careful, we sin by worrying about it instead of saying, you know what? God is on His throne. And because He's on His throne, everything's going to be okay. And I thought you did a great job. You concluded with that Isaiah 6 passage where you just reminded us that God is on the throne. And in a world where Isaiah was worried about his world and the things that were happening, God reminded him, I'm the one on the throne. And you just invited us to see God on the throne. And that's the way I summed up your message at the end, my two-line summary.
He said one sentence that was the whole sermon, so it was really awesome.
Well, I got that bit from my friend,
Shout out
Pastor Cole Clark. He does that at his Bible conference. He did that, and he said he actually got it from Brother Paul Bowen over at First Baptist Buna. That's just a good way to kind of help people. You just direct their mind back to the text or to the sermon. So yeah, my little two-line summary of your message was: if you look at the world, you get worry, but if you see God on the throne, you have peace.
Yeah.
When you know God's in charge, you're okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
That's our prayer, is that you would know in this season and this week of your life that God is on the throne. He's not stepped off no matter what's happening in your world, whether it's good or whether you're in the middle of a chaotic, crazy situation. God is on the throne, and our prayer is that you get a glimpse of that, and that instead of worrying, you can turn it over to Him and walk in peace, trusting the one who's already met your greatest need and knowing that He's going to provide for every other need in your life now and forever.
Amen. Yeah. Yeah. That was kind of the ending kind of thing yesterday, was like when you seek that kingdom that where God, who has all authority, is on the throne, we get another blessing of peace that nobody else can offer, And so it's the greatest thing. And I think we all want that.
No doubt.
And we can have it.
Yeah.
Like we can have it today. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that.
Christmas.
It's Christmas time.
December 1st, man. We're going to be decorating. We're going to be
It's
adventing
Christmas
it
time.
up. I hope your family is taking some time in this season to prepare yourself for the arrival of Christ. We know He's come, but to prepare yourself in this season of remembering the first advent of Christ. And I hope your family's taking some time. There are lots of free devotionals online that we'll do one every day. If you've not done family devotionals, this is an easy way to start. There's tons of free books, free resources where you can just read a short reading every day between now and December 25th. What an easy way to maybe launch into some family Devo time. So I want to encourage you to do that. And join us next Sunday as we'll kind of officially kick off the Christmas season.
Yeah.
We're excited for that.
It's going to be awesome. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for
And
listening, watching.
We'll
Catch
be
you
back
soon.
next week. Peace.